Welcome everybody to the 1997 PC hit Diablo 1. This game took the world by storm by reinventing what the genre of dungeon crawlers were to become. Diablo 1 is set in the small town of Tristram and needs help from destroying the Archbishop Lazinus, who is going to summon the devil himself, Diablo. Within the small town here, you can find yourself going into the crypts and going down below.
The sanctity of this place has been fouled.
Here you find yourself tunneling through randomly generated dungeons with randomly generated monster packs and randomly generated loot. This complex idea and concept was really brought to light with this game. Now Diablo 2, Diablo 3, and Diablo 4 still follow all the same characteristics and playstyle, but this was the first of its kind to really develop and nail it correctly. This free-flowing action RPG really set the standard to come of New Age gaming. It was so ahead of its time back in the 1997, crafted with Blizzard Entertainment. Soon to follow was World of Warcraft, that followed the same kind of engine, but led more of a open world RPG style. Now in Diablo 1, you could start as one of three classes. They only programmed in the warrior, rogue, and a mage. Here, now before we get too far, I'd like to explain to you how to go get the game in 2023. This is a website called GOG Games, which is Good Old Games. This is a Canadian price. For $13.49, you could download Diablo plus the expansion called Hellfire directly to your PC. And it's probably the most accessible and clean option. It comes with lots of patches, things redone to the game that allow for more of a streamlined accessibility to it. Now there is another option. If you got the Diablo 2 battle chest like I did back in the day, it actually came with a CD copy of Diablo 1. You can see it there on top. Diablo 2 came with these CD keys, but Diablo 1 had no CD key at the time, so you could pop this right into your computer and get going. The main pull to this game is the fact that you are going down, venturing deeper into the catacombs, and eventually spiraling all the way down into hell itself. You gain levels, gain new equipment, and fight individual bosses. Ones that are one of a kind, drop interesting magical items, and also grant you quests to complete back in town. Right there you got to see that I beat the first boss called the Butcher, and he dropped an item called the Butcher's Cleaver. Now with a really strong weapon out of the way, we need to get ourselves some better armor. What I'm about to show you is a frame 1 trick known as the duplication glitch. It is renowned in Diablo 1. Now watch me lose my mind trying to replicate this glitch.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Okay, honestly, I'm sorry about that. But diving deeper into the game here, you're going to find yourself with larger swarms of stronger and stronger creatures. They will drop better and better gear, and even as you are either the warrior or the rogue, even you can learn magical spells at this point to disband these monsters. Something though you are going to run into, and you are going to have to get used to, is getting yourself in midst combat with these ranged opponents. This was my very first time coming into a group of skeletons that all had a bunch of rangers and archers, and it almost took me right out. I was unprepared at the time, but you're going to have to get used to it, as there's going to be multiple accounts of these encounters where if you are like me playing the warrior, you are just going to be chasing down these monsters trying to slay them. Even here, when I get down to hell, you can see that there's a bunch of these succubuses trying to blast me from afar. Even here, down in the depths at level 10, you can see that there's a bunch of these monsters just obliterating my armor, trying to take me out. Following along, there are a couple of instances of these unique monsters and unique bosses again, and even like this one, I couldn't pin him down because he is a teleporting boss. These kind of moments are discouraging to new players who aren't used to this kind of combat. I would recommend that you understand that this is quite a bit of an older game, and you will have to be prepared to kind of grind it out. Explore every single level. Explore everywhere that you can. You want to make sure that you loot every chest. You want to make sure that you get every gold piece and every upgrade of armor possible. You are going to need it going deeper and deeper down towards hell. As you can see here, we've skipped quite a bit, but I am down in the center of hell. The landscape changes. The monsters come in groups that are larger than life. It's just you against all odds, fighting against the creatures that Diablo has, ensuring that he will be the one that conquers and owns the land, and will bring Tristram down to its knees. You go alone, and you are the only one to fight before the creatures ahead. Oh, here we go. I found it. And this was the first moment that I got down to the final level, level 16. This is the pit of hell that you will find yourself fighting Diablo in down at the very end. I fast forwarded the video for level 16 to kind of represent the kinds of things you're going to be looking at in the main gameplay of this whole entire game. You're going to find yourself restocking on potions, going back to town often, selling loot, re-getting new gear, restocking up on potions, and doing this process over and over again. The game doesn't have respawning enemies. Even if you leave and come back, the game is set one time from once you start the game. So every pack of monsters, the things that they drop are permanent. The things that they drop are the only things that they can drop. And you're going to have to kind of deal with what you get during your run. If you spend all your money, you don't get any really good items. You find yourself really in a pit. Other than the duplication glitch, there was no other way for players to really get back after it unless you went back out there trying to reslay monsters. Diablo 1 really set this large foundation of games to come. Diablo 2 became the successor to this one and became one of the, if not the greatest game of all times in a lot of people's books. It really expanded the formula, adding new characters, new monsters, items, rune words, and lots of other things. But the foundations here are something that maybe you could go back on and understand exactly the time period that this came out in, and the things that the developers kind of had a dream and a vision for. You can see here how much they really wanted this type of feel to really take off, and I think they did a fantastic job. With lots of dungeon crawling RPGs at the time, they were all turn-based. Making this free flow hack and slash dungeon crawler was one of the first of its kind, and they nailed it. They really nailed it. Now, do I think Diablo 1 is worth playing through in 2023? And I think it's going to be really up to the user here. I think it's going to be up to the fact if you're up to, and if you are interested in playing hard and grindy games. If you like the new aged roguelike games that really challenge you, you're going to love this. But if you are very much into the Diablo 3, Diablo 4 sequence playstyle where you're looking at millions of damage and wiping out spawns and groups very quickly, this is not going to be the game for you. Every pack of enemies here is its own kind of test and trial. You don't have damage that reaches up in the millions. Even the end game here, I think my damage of my sword might have been doing 40 or 50, and each enemy having about 200, 300 life. Coming in swarms, I had to speed this video up just to get through this level. And do I think all players are going to be interested in something like that? The answer is probably no. The way that you should access this game, though, is probably through GOG games. Getting the disc for Diablo 1 is probably going to be a little bit tougher and more expensive at this point. You're going to be paying for shipping. You're going to be running the risk if the disc even still runs or not. It's not an extremely long game or complex game to play. Just understand the kind of game that you're getting into and the date that it was made in and the time period. It took me roughly 13 or 14 hours to finish this game. And here you can see that I finally found Diablo down in the pits of level 16. He is swarming with teams of creatures. So the thing that you kind of want to do is take them out as they are trying to kind of pin you down. And once you kind of eliminate them, you can finally take on Diablo one-on-one here. And kind of kite him around the field until you can get him and try to fight him, like I said, one-on-one. Make sure that you get lots of health potions. You know that he is the endgame boss here. And this is my final fight with Diablo, and I'm going to leave the end credits. If you have made it this far, thank you very much for watching. And let me know down below what you think. If you've tried playing Diablo 1 recently, what have you thought about it? Is it a classic, or is it a game that just doesn't stand the test of time? I'd love to know. Thank you very much.
The soul stone burns with hellfire as an eerie red glow blurs your vision. Fresh blood flows into your eyes, and you begin to hear the tormented whispers of the damned. You have done what you knew must be done. The essence of Diablo is contained. For now. You pray that you have become strong enough to contain the demon and keep him at bay. Although you have been fortified by your quest, you can still feel him, clawing his way up from the dark recesses of your soul. Fighting to retain control, your thoughts turn toward the ancient mystic lands of the Far East. Perhaps there, beyond the desolate wastes of Aranok, you will find an answer. Or perhaps salvation.